Everybody, this is Funky G coming at you. Today I'm going to talk about a fantastic app called iRealPro, which is one of the most widely used tools for playing jazz by both amateurs and professionals. It's simply an app that contains chord charts and the sound for hundreds and hundreds of jazz tunes, and I'll show you how many tunes are available here in a few minutes. But I'll start as it with using the tune Blue Bossa as an example. So here is a lead sheet showing the A section from Blue Bossa, and you'll see that the key typically is depicted in C minor. And I'll show you why I mentioned that in a minute, but let's take a second and listen to the part of the A section one time around as played by Dexter Gordon. Okay, fantastic. Classic tune. Fun to listen to, fun to play. So, what you just heard pretty much is the melody as depicted here in the lead sheet. Now, let's look at the iRealPro chord chart. Um, Blue Bossa, you'll see the chord changes here. You won't see A and B marked, but you can add that information as text later if you want to. But you see under the chord chart are certain controls like play, stop, how many times around you want to play this chart, um, the tempo, the key, and the groove. So let's just play this once. Okay, so that gives you an idea of the sound of the band in the box that iRealPro provides with piano, percussion, and bass. Those are the three instruments it comes with. And it sounds okay. I mean, if you're practicing by yourself or maybe with another person, it's adequate for your needs because the tempo is maintained, and you can just keep playing. And if you want to do something different the next time around, you just do it. Or if you want to stop, you can do that. So let me open this panel here in the top right corner, and you see that all the controls that were at the bottom are now at the top right. And you see some other stuff, which I'll show you in a minute. But I want to mention the key transposition feature because, as you see, you could transpose this song to any key you want, and that is useful, of course, if you're playing with a singer who maybe needs it to be in a slightly different key than C minor, or if you've got a horn player or horn players plural with you, and they have their own devices on which they could open the app, they could, change the key to whatever is required for their instrument. So that way everybody's you're on the same page with respect to the song, but you're on different pages with respect to the key, if you will. But it's a nice feature. You see here how the piano, bass, and drums sounds are listed. So here we go, playing all three of them. Now let's turn the piano off and see how it sounds. Okay, so if you're the pianist and you want to practice your comping and or your solo, you just turn that off. Likewise, if you're the bassist and you want to practice your thing, you turn the bass off. And finally, you do the same thing with the drums. You can control who's playing. There are some other features here which I don't use too often, but I think they're self-explanatory. One thing is, I think it would be really fun to mess around with if you had the time, would be to change the style of the tune. You can do you can just try. You can let's see what disco sounds like. There you go. If Donna Summer was going to record Blue Bossa, maybe it would sound something like that. um, One cool thing about this app is that you can edit the chord changes. You can change this to, another chord if you wanted to. Change it back by hitting Command Z or Control Z, and then when you're done, you can save the changes you made, or you just close it out and go back to, without saving, to the original. But so you could change the chords, you could add measures. As I said, you could add in an A box and a B box where you want to, just so you know better perhaps where you are. So editing is pretty handy. You can actually start a new tune by making a blank tune and filling in the measures and the chords and the time signature, whatever you want to do. It's a little bit like Muse Score, if you're familiar with Muse Score, in the sense that all these icons over here are used, to represent different things. So it's pretty handy. A little tedious, but better than writing it out, I guess, and just working with a paper copy. I mean, once you do this for a tune you're writing, you're done, and then you could edit it as you see fit. So I think it's pretty cool. Let's save. Okay, now let's open the final panel, which is over on the left, and this shows you playlists. So as I mentioned, iRealPro has hundreds of tunes available to you. For example, jazz tunes, it's got over 1,300. Brazilian tunes, over 150. Blues, lots of blues tunes, lots of Latin tunes. And then you can create your own playlist. So at the moment, I've got over 100 tunes in my playlist, which I've added from these categories. So let's say I want to add a new one. Let's see. I'll just pick one at random, like Bebop by Dizzy Gillespie. I'll just drag it over here in my playlist and go to the bottom, and there it is. Okay, it's there. And you can arrange these. I think, I just work with alphabetical order, which you get to, let me think. I think if you just click around, it eventually gets back to, click title. There you go. Click title, and it's alphabetized by the name of the tune, or if you're looking for the composer, you can do that. Like, here are some Miles Davis tunes I have in my playlist. Here's some Ellington tunes. The style, likewise, you can do it that way. I just stick with title most of the time because that's what I'm working with. Now, there are likely a lot of things you can do with this app that I'm not showing you. Pretty much whatever you can think of trying to do, you could Google it and say, hey, can iRealPro do this? Or how do I do this in iRealPro? And you'll find an answer. Many times when you Google a question like that, the answer you get will turn up in the iRealPro website here. This is where you download, by the way. You download the app, and you can get it. This is for Mac, but you can also get it for Android devices. And a lot of the answers to the questions that you're asking that you look in Google for may turn up here in the app website. So these are some topics that people have asked about recently, or maybe they're maybe they're topics that people have searched for quite often. So they turn up with a high count like this. You could also just search. Let's see. I know there's a way to search for a question. Let's try. Well, let's go to support for Mac. Yeah. Okay. Look, they've got a bunch of categories of information here listed, but you can just search for whatever you want. Like, how do I edit a chart? Let's see what it says. Yeah, create a chart. You'll find the answers you want in here. And I've found that when I Google a question, if I say, how do I do something in iRealPro, I am taken to an answer which people have contributed, and it's often in that iRealPro forum. But Google gets me there, so that's pretty handy. Okay, so again, very nice app. I've seen people at gigs or jam sessions, have, like I've seen bass players had this open on their iPhone. They prop it up on a table or something, a desk in front of them while they're playing, and they can just see the chord changes go by, and then they do their thing. So I've seen piano players have an iPad open, and iRealPro is displaying the tune they're playing, and you see the chord changes go by. It's just a nice tool to use so that you can, if maybe you don't have the chord changes memorized, or maybe you just want a little support while you're playing your comping and your solo. It's just a really nice tool to have. So hope this is helpful. Um, if you haven't used it, try it. I think you'll probably like it. I will talk to you later.